Hello everyone. This lecture slides and voicing is coming to you from Bayero University, Kano, School of General Studies, for the course GSP 1201/2201, Use of English for the first semester 2020-2021 academic session. For the Department of Allied Health Sciences, Dentistry and Clinical Sciences. Happy listening. The objective of this module is to equip students with vocabulary as the ingredients for spoken and written communication. It is well known that vocabulary development is one of the tools used to enhance our ability to communicate effectively and efficiently in English language, not only in English, in every language. So it is the aim and objectives of this module 1, titled Vocabulary Development, to introduce students on the ways that they can improve their vocabulary development or assess their level of proficiency in English using how rich or otherwise their vocabulary is in that particular language. Some of the areas that will be covered in this course are denotation and connotation, registers and jargons, verbs and idioms. Introduction. There are several ways and methods through which we understand or grasp the meaning of a particular word in English, especially when it comes to reading. Scholars or experts in English language often advise students that, or readers, consulting dictionary while reading should be a last resort to get a meaning of a word. So we should try as much as we can to get more information about a particular word based on the understanding or different ways of understanding a word meaning in English. These words include, though not limited to, the following. Number 1, origin of a word or etymology. Before you get to know how this or a particular word works in English, when you come across a new word in English language, and you find it difficult that you don't know its meaning, so going back to the dictionary or checking or consulting dictionary is not always motivating. We should try to check the etymology, and by etymology we simply mean the origin of the words. It is known that English language originates or has a lot of words which come from other languages such as Latin, French, Portuguese, and Greek. Knowledge of these languages that have influence on English language as far as words is concerned is very important. Before you get to know the root or stem of a word, you should try as much as you can to know the origin. Is it from Latin, or from French or Portuguese, that is enough for you to get to know some of these meanings. And you find it very easy in understanding passage, essays, and even difficult written communication. Let me give an example. The word manipulate is a Latin word that originated, which means man in the initial letters, has nothing to do with the word gender or sex. What we mean here is that man in the word manipulation does not refer to a human being. The word manipulate is from the Latin word manipulus, handful, from the word manus, hand, to mean skillful handling of object in the English language. So you can see that not all the time what you've seen determines the meaning of that particular word, but knowing the origin, how the word come from the original language, and how it is being used in the new language helps a lot in understanding the meaning of that particular word. The next way of understanding of the meaning of a word is through onomatopoeia, what in literature, or rather in figures of speech, we call, or we refer to as how a sound of a particular word suggests or evokes its meaning. For example, when you hear the sound, the boom of a fire outbreak exploding, the boom. So by mere hearing this sound of this word boom suggests that there is a kind of explosion of a fire, or the tick tock of a clock, tick tick. Or another example, the ding dong of a doorbell. So examples we've given on this slide is whistle. When you hear the whistle being blown, it will suggest a lot of meanings to you, or tick tock, or whisper, or rustling, a kind of small sound. So apart from etymology, which we said is the origin of a word, that tells you the knowledge of where the word originated. Is it from French, Portuguese, or Latin? Then onomatopoeic word, a word that through its sound we get to know or to sense the meaning of it, is another way that helps students or readers of not only English, any language, to find it easy in understanding the meaning of the. Thank you. The next item on the words, on the ways to understand new words in English language, is the root or base of a word. When you come across a new word, if you are your acquaintance, you have the knowledge of the root word, how the word initiates. Morphologically, you find that a word may have 3 to 4 parts, which are called morphemes, the smallest unit of a word, which contains only vowels, consonant sounds. For example, the word education can be morphologically divided into 3. Education. So in this case, when you have educate, then you have education. So your ability to understand how the word education starts, which one is the root word, which one is the base word, will help you in understanding easily and more conveniently the meaning of that particular word. So in this case, a root word is a basic word. When affix or suffix is added, then you form another new word. So it is called a root because it forms the basis of a new word and cannot be broken. For example, we give these words active, active. The root word is act, A-C-T. And when you have active, you by adding IVE, which is a suffix, and suffix is a unit of a word that is added after the root word, while prefix is a unit of a word that is added before a word. For example, when you say happy, you have unhappiness. UN is a suffix, while happiness, when you have happy, you have ness. If from adjective ness it becomes noun, then ness now is a suffix. So when you have suffix or prefix added to the root or base word, so in that case, knowledge of this will definitely help you understand easily the meaning of that particular word without going back to the dictionary. Another more examples of this is we have another example, ominous from omen, which means sign, or often negative. Indecisive from indecision, or ingenious from genius. Genius, you have in, you have prefix. So we have three now that when used, it helps us in understanding the new words. We say the etymology, that is the history. We also give the root or base words. Then we have loan words, words that are borrowed from another language. Next is loan words. There are words in English language which are borrowed from other languages without changing the form of the word. For example, coup d'etat borrowed from French, safari borrowed from Arabic, and anonymous borrowed from Greek. Loot borrowed from Hindi, and cartoon borrowed from Italian, among others. It is a basic knowledge that a language depends on other languages to develop its words. Because of globalization, or every century, right from if you take the Old English, changes in the Middle Ages because of the invasion of foreign countries on the English people. So as a result of intermingling of people with of English people with other people, you find that English language borrowed words from Italy, from Greek, from even Arabic, from Latin, and so on. So when you have these words, your knowledge on how they come and they are being used in this language without changing their forms will also help you in understanding the basic meaning of this word without unnecessarily referring yourself back to the dictionary all the time. Another word or another way of understanding the meaning of a word, or easiest way that helps you in understanding the meaning of a word, is knowing the grammatical category of a word or grammatical class. It is well known that every word in English has a grammatical class and function. For example, some words are nouns, some verbs, some adjectives or adverbs, as the case may be. So if you have this knowledge of the grammatical classifications of words as they appear in sentences or expressions, it helps you a lot in understanding the meaning of that particular word. For example, when you see a word happy and appears in this sentence as I'm happy, so you know that happy here appears as an adjective. But when it appears in another sentence like his happiness makes me happy, then happiness here appears now. So knowing this will definitely help you in understanding the meaning of what as they change forms in various sentences and in several contexts. Depends upon the users. Context, as we explained, is another way of using and understanding is another way that helps in understanding the meaning of a word. Context simply means environment or a situation in which a word is used. Some words may have different meaning depending on where and how the word is used in a sentence. We give an example with the word treatment, which may have three different meanings depending on three different contexts being used. For example, when you say, he receives a good treatment from the doctor or nurse, this treatment means medical attention. But when you say, the way he treated me was squarely bad, here, the word treatment means his attitude towards me. But when you say the water treatment, then here you are directly talking about the chemical we use in purifying water. So these are three different contexts we use. So a context mostly determines the meaning of a word. I also used to give example with the word ravage. Suppose you don't know the meaning of this word and it appears in sentence as a result of a heavy rainfall yesterday, our house has been ravaged. Our house has been ravaged. So ravaged here means destroyed. Intuition we simply means the innate knowledge of the language that is mostly found in native speakers' ability to speak the language. And native speakers are the owners of the language. Suppose we have British people or Americans or Canadians, they are all speakers of language, even though some grammarians begin to recognize English. Nigerian English is a variety among the varieties of English. But whatever that means, the innate knowledge of our language also helps in understanding the meaning of that particular language, and that depends on the competence of the user. Sometimes you don't have to be a native for you to have proficiency or capacity to speak the language efficiently. Even a near native language speaker, a near native speaker, like somebody who is very vast in the language, who deeply rooted in the roots of the language and grammar, syntax, and so on, can also have an innate knowledge of the language. So this also helps in understanding the meaning of some words. The next is the dictionary. As we explained, dictionary is the last resort, and we don't openly or mostly open our dictionary for every new word we come across while reading. What is suggested is that we should employ other ways like the etymology, that's the origin of the words, like the context, use the environment, the words before and after the word to understand. And sometimes we say the grammatical class of the word may help you understand. If all these things you have applied and you couldn't get the meaning of that new word you come across in your reading, then you can open up your dictionary. Dictionary will give you a lot of things, including the etymology itself, the pronunciation, transcriptions, that is how the word is pronounced phonologically. You have the grammatical class, you have the meanings, the metaphorical, that is the connotative and denotative. All these are information given by the dictionary. Sometimes the variety, or if you look at is it American or British or Canadian and so on. So in fact, we said dictionary is important, but it's mostly taken as a last resort in checking the meaning. The next is denotation and connotation, which we have explained to mean denotation we say is the primary or dictionary meaning of a word, while connotation is the secondary or metaphorical meaning of a word. So when you say have the word table, you mean something you use, you put your book and pen and you write with 4 legs, executive table. This is a dictionary meaning. But when you say he's a table, meaning he possesses the attribute of table. Also, an example of a lion. You can't call somebody a lion. Lion is an animal. But when you understand that somebody possesses the qualities of a lion, then you call that person lion. Then the word lion here is not used denotatively but connotatively, meaning metaphorically or secondarily. So what we simply mean here is that denotation is primary, secondary, or dictionary meaning of a word, while connotation means secondary, metaphorical, or associated meaning of a word. In understanding the two concepts of denotation and connotation, we can highlight the similarities, if any, and differences in their futures. Both denotative and connotative meanings are types of meaning available to every language users. Meaning it's not restricted to only English language. Every language users have these connotative and denotative meaning. It's just a feature of language. Denotative meaning identifies items in the world, like donkey as an animal with 4 legs usually used for carrying loads, while connotative meaning is a sense relation of the denotative meaning of a given word by extension. So if you see somebody who is a dog, who is very workaholic and resembles donkey in his or her features, in his or her attributes, then you can say that person is a donkey. You don't mean he's an animal, but he possesses the qualities. So the use of donkey here is connotative, meaning it is denotative, meaning it's connotative, meaning it is an as extended meaning. It is metaphorical. Denotative meaning is a stable relationship, meaning the word just means this. That's all. It's just stable. But while connotative is unstable. When you say donkey to mean animal with 4 legs, then it's stable. It's direct. It's plain. That is denotative. But when you say somebody is donkey as a human being, then of course it's unstable because it's tension. Denotative meaning is concrete, while connotative meaning is abstract. Why is it concrete? Because you can see and touch the meaning of, say, a lion with having 4 animals. But when I say Ali is a lion or John is a bat, then you have to, it's abstract. You have to engage in so many thinking to try to sense of what I mean, because I have already extended the meaning of that animal to mean something else. What which has different shades of meaning also bring about the incidence of synonymy. When you have this denotative and connotative, then you have synonyms. Synonyms are words that are similar in meanings. Sour like orange and rancid like butter, blonde hair and brown dress, deep gutter and profound wound, bright students and colorful attire, statesmen usually for retired politicians who aren't termed corrupt, and politician corrupt and active persons in active politics. Lecturer is associated with tertiary institutions and teacher primary or secondary schools as the case. Literary writings are known for the profuse use of connotative meanings as seen in the literary devices such as metaphor, irony, satire, imagery, and so on. So this comes to see why is it literary works are difficult to read. It's because they use literary language. A literary language simply means the special use of language, or what uh, Victor Shklovsky, one of the proponents of formalism, calls defamiliarization. That is the idea of using language to put things in a very difficult and special way. Something that you are familiar with now become unfamiliar because it has been shaped or embellished using language. That's what we call literary writings also use connotative meanings. Most of the language in literary writings are metaphorical or connotative. Connotation carries negative and positive meanings. Some synonyms differ in either the negative or positive implication of the word. A word may be positive to A but negative to B. Example, childlike positive to young children but negative to adults. So these are the things we're talking about. Register and jargons. We've explained this, that registers are words that are special, formally used in a special profession or human endeavor, while jargons are informal use of this specialized language in a particular human endeavor. If registers are formal, jargons are informal. Registers, for example, law, the word like plaintiff, prosecutor, writ, defendant, appellant, mandamus, accused, petitioner, all these are words that are related to law. Then we call them register. Linguistics, when you have words like phoneme, allophone, plosive, rounded vowel, and so on, these are all related to linguistics. But when you have controversy, eloquent, declare, candidate, strategy, bank, canvas, veto, adverse, jubilant, gracious, charisma, all words are related to politics. Blasphemy, animism, Buddhism, agnosticism, atheism, ecclesiastic, episcopal, evangelical, all these are words that are peculiar to religion. Then you have acute, abrasion, and autopsy, biopsy, diagnosis, fracture, and so on are words that are related to medicine. So, in a word, registers are words that are specialized and used in a particular profession. Well, for jargons is an obscure and pretentious use of language. Then we have said that it is totally informal use of language, especially for particular profession or people. And when they use in jargon, sometimes the listener. Then phrasal verbs, we say, is a group of words which consists of a verb and other particles that are which are particles which are preposition, adverb, or both. For example, V plus P, that is call off. Call is a verb, off is a preposition. Then you have add up, add as a verb, up as a preposition, catch up with, catch as a verb, up preposition and with preposition. There are words, lexical verb, single verb word that means, that denotes the meaning of the phrasal verb. For example, look for means search, put off means extinguish, object to means refuse or reject, bring up means raise. Phrasal verbs are subdivided into separable and non-separable. Some you can divide the preposition and the verb. For example, break down versus break the topic down. Then you separate break and the down. You can say break the topic down, or bring your child up, or call the strike off, or put the fire off. All these are separable, while non-separable verbs are those phrasal verbs which cannot take a word inserted between the verb and the particle. For example, look for, hold on, stop. Phrasal verbs are further divided into literal and non-literal meaning. The literal phrasal verbs, just as the name implies, denote a literal meaning which are not taken idiomatically. While the non-literal verbs take literally or idiomatic meaning. Example, look up or down can take a literal meaning which denotes an upward or downward gaze. What we mean by this is that some phrasal verbs are idiomatic in nature because they are used connotatively, metaphorically, or idiomatically. While some words, some phrasal verbs are just have literal or denotative meaning. Then we say look up or look down can mean upward or downward gaze of This phrasal verb look down can take a noun literal meaning like must. Other examples include hang on, persevere, sit up, pay attention. Examples of idioms: beat around the bush to avoid talking about what is important. Get your When you are asked to define a noun, you end up defining verb or giving examples of nouns instead of definition. Then you are beating around the bush. To to avoid talking about what is important, that is beating around. Get your act together, get organized, and do things effectively. Hit the sack, go to sleep. Your guess is as good as mine, I do not know. Your guess is as good as mine, I do not know. Good things come to those who wait, to have patience. Back against the wall, stuck in a difficult circumstance with no escape. Up in arms, being grumpy or angry about. Scrape the bar, making the most of the worst situation or things because you can't do anything about it. Burn your boats or bridges. Doing something that makes it impossible to go back to the original state. Break fresh or new ground. Doing something that has never been done before. Sell like hot cakes. Quick sell out. Run about in circles. Putting effort into something that is not worthwhile results. On cloud nine, been very happy. Blow hot and cold. Alternate inconsistently between modes. Cut corners, doing something in an easier and least expensive way manner. Boil the ocean, taken up an almost impossible or overly ambitious projects. That's a big ambition. Keep on air to the ground, staying informed and updated about everything. Eat like a horse, eating too excessively. A snowball effect, aspect of momentum in every event and how they build up. Idiom. Idioms are semantically like a single word, but do not function like a word. It does not change or take grammatical features like noun words take plural form, characters or verbs take tense forms. Cook, cooked. Thus, to kick the bucket cannot be expressed as to kick the buckets. What this means is that phrasal verbs or idioms, or idiom in particular, does not take plural and singular. Like when you say uh, to kick the bucket means he dies, you can't say to kick the buckets mean he dies, many death. No, they don't take plural, they don't take simple past tense or past participle as the case may be. This has come to the end of this lecture on Module 1 titled Vocabulary. We've discussed various ways of understanding the meaning of a new word, which include etymology, loan word or borrowed words, grammatical class of words, using dictionary, using connotation and denotations. We discussed idioms, we discussed phrasal verbs, we discussed how they appear in a sentence, or how you can be able to really improve your vocabulary. We discussed the literal and non-literal use of language and so on. All these are meant to improve your vocabulary and help you to understand words as they appear in sentences, essays, or even lengthy writings. Thank you. Happy listening. Let's move in the next module, that is module 2. Thank you very much.